Okay, so the goal for today's class, today's topic, right, is organizing body paragraphs. And the majority of class we're going to spend working on exercises to practice this, right? And the reason for this is that in general, this is what students have the hardest time with, figuring out how to group related ideas and leave out the ones or move the ones that are not related to somewhere else, right? So we're going to go back over something we brushed down at the end of class last week. So last week I gave you these sentences and I gave them to you. There was a picture of a house and I asked you to put them or organize them so they would be in the two different parts of the house, right? So let's look at them together. So you shouldn't need to write this again because already you would have written it last week, right? All right, sometimes students need more examples. Often teachers take too long to provide feedback. Students can get confused. Teachers can sometimes be too strict or intimidating when it comes to communicating. Students may feel that teachers are unapproachable. Students don't ask questions. Teachers drone on without taking questions. All right. So I want you to think about it. I want to give you a full minute. When you think you've figured out which sentences need to be in which group, I want you to tell me in the chat, right? If you feel like we answered it last week and you have that group written down, you can put the message in the chat. Just put the sentence numbers. Okay, so the chat is open, you can send a message to me. Right, which sentences seem to be developing a point? There should be 2 points. Which sentences belong where? No, I don't have any of these in mind as a topic sentence, right? Sure, I'll say it again. Sentences 1 to 7 develop 2 main ideas. And I'm asking you to look at them and take a try at thinking about which sentences belong together. So in one group, which sentences would you put? In the other group, which ones would you put? Okay, 2, 4, 7. Those of you who said 2, 4, 7, let's look at those. I'm going to highlight them, right? So 2, 4, and 7. Often teachers take too long to provide feedback. Teachers can sometimes be too strict or intimidating when it comes to communicating. Teachers drone on without taking questions. We could agree those are related. All right, so here's the question. Here's my next question. What is the main idea here? If these were all in a paragraph, what would that paragraph be trying to tell the reader? What's the main point the paragraph would be trying to make to the reader? Could be trying to make to the reader. All right, so that leaves 1, 3, 5, and 6 for the next one, right? I'm gonna highlight it. So next conversation we're having is what is the main idea for those, right? Okay, so these are the groupings I want us to have in mind together. Okay, this is a good idea from, I wish I could say this person's name, but it is currently unknown. How teachers usually respond or get on with students. I think that is that is correct. All of them seem to fit with that idea. And let's see what else people have said. Negative behaviors of teachers affecting students. I think that is also, this is Kanisha's idea. That's a good idea too, right? I'm checking through the other answers, right? Do you have to write this? Didn't you write it last week already? We're just going over it because I kind of rushed it down with you. Teachers don't communicate. I think that could work too, because not providing feedback is not communicating. Being too strict or intimidating is a problem with your communication, and droning on without taking questions also not communicated, because communicating you have to find out from the students if they understand. So all of those could work. Things about teachers. Things about teachers is very vague. Things about teachers' approach to teaching that could hurt or harm education. Yes, that could work. Behaviors or personalities can be intimidating and hurt students. Yes, that could work, giving them negative impacts, right? Right. Aspects of the teacher's behavior that keep students from understanding what is going on. Yes. Right. Okay, so Jaylon, thank you. All right. I know I have the setting change because of a little troll from last week. I have the setting change so you can't change your name. So some people would have logged in planning to change your name and now they can't. Right? All right. Okay, teachers need to reach out to students to make them feel more comfortable and approachable. Yeah, I think that would be a better closing sentence for the paragraph. Okay, so then the paragraph would read, right? So the topic sentence for this paragraph would read, and I read out the good answers from students. I didn't retain any of them, so I'm gonna put just what I think I heard, right? So teachers have many negative behaviors that harm student learning or get in the way of student learning or anything along those lines, right? So this would be your top piece of bread. The yellow stuff is in the middle of your paragraph sandwich. And then at the end, I feel like we could put what Ricky is suggesting. Teachers need to reach out to students because that's like saying they need to communicate, and the paragraph would have been on communication, right? To make them feel comfortable or to help them learn. I prefer if we say to help them learn because the first sentence I put said to help them learn, right? Okay, now let's look at the stuff in green. The note taken for this exercise is optional. For the others, you will have to write, but you did some of this writing last week already. I will let you choose what you want to write from this I mean, it's always your choice because I'm not there to physically make you do it, right? But you choose this time. If you're unable to communicate in Zoom, I'm sorry, there will be a handful of people that the Zoom chat always gives trouble for. Sorry, guys. All right. Sometimes students need more examples. Students can get confused. Students may feel that teachers are unapproachable. Students don't ask questions. I'm going to put in a phrase here. Don't feel comfortable enough to ask questions, right? Because you have to be kind of brave to ask a question and to volunteer an answer, right? That involves some level of bravery. You could put affect, you can't put effect. You could put affect with an E, right? Instead of harm, if you prefer affect, you could put that. You could put negatively impact. You could put get in the way of. You could put discourage. All right. What are the points in green? What's the main point that the sentences in green are getting at? So to me, the main point for the points in green has to do with some things that can enhance student learning. Or you could say these are some of the negative impacts. Yes, so this is Kanisha's suggestion. Okay, or you could say this is why students need to be more approachable because this is you, but you have to tell me this is the effect on students, right? All right, so I'm gonna put this in green so it's clear. All right, but we're saying that 1, 3, 5, and 6 is often these are the effects on students, right? Sometimes they will need more examples. They will get confused. They will feel that teachers are unapproachable and they will not feel comfortable enough to ask questions, right? Okay. Yeah, okay. Students are scared or nervous to ask for help. Yes, that could be the main idea too. Students are too uncomfortable around certain teachers. Yes, because of the behaviors we just discussed, right? All right. some of the problems students experience in school with teachers, right? All right. One last point I want to make here. Those of you who are taking notes, I hope you are writing while we're doing this, right? One last point I want to make here is to be careful that when you say your main idea, you are being specific enough, right? All right. Let me give you an example, completely unrelated to this topic, right? The question, so a question on a second year infants test is they're doing compare and contrast, right? So the teacher tells them, compare and contrast the moon and the sun. Okay, so the test might have a space for similarity. It might say alike, it might use the word similarity, right? Because they're in second year. And then it might have a word for difference, a line for difference, right? All right. So moon and the sun. So the similarity, if I write the word sheep, and for difference, I also write the word sheep, right? How many marks am I gonna get for that? A nice, big, fat, round 0, right? Because I have not said, what I need to say is they're both round sometimes. Oh, no. Yeah, both round sometimes, right? And then I need to say sometimes one is a crescent and sometimes one is round. Or if I give the difference as color, still getting 0 because I need to say sometimes one is silver and one is yellow, right? So similarly, when we're writing a topic sentence, right? I cannot say for this topic sentence here, right? Like with the teachers and their negative behaviors, I cannot say teachers' behaviors to students. Some teachers have nice behaviors to students. They give out prizes, they play games, they are kind, they don't raise their voice, right? But that's not what my paragraph is going to be about. My paragraph is going to be about negative behaviors to students. So this is still too vague. Just like saying the shape of the moon and the sun is a similarity is too vague, or the shape is different. That's also too vague, right? So make sure that you've put in, I guess it's a value word, whether the thing you're going to talk about be the good thing or the bad thing. Make sure you put in the make sure you put in a similar, not a similar, sorry, a specific word, right? All right, so I'm giving you all a minute again to process anything you need to. And then we're gonna go to, what game were we playing last week? Let's talk about what we're doing here. There are more sentences than what I'm asking you to write down, right? And what you could write down is a brainstorm of the points rather than the full sentence, okay? So I'm not asking you to write all these sentences. I know this is a lot of writing. This is an activity in practicing how we organize things, how we group things, right? That's what we're practicing, how to group things. So I'm gonna leave it big and we'll just have to do it piece by piece. Right? All right, schools should provide lunches to all students is the position, right? And these are the points to support. Families would spend less money on groceries each week if lunch was already provided at school. School provided lunches could follow balanced nutrition guidelines to ensure students get enough vitamins and minerals. Parents wouldn't need to wake up early to prepare lunches before work. Farmers in the community could sell fresh produce directly to the school lunch program. Okay, I'm turning off the chat just for a minute. All right, let's think about the answers before we start sending. Buying food in bulk for schools often costs less per meal than what individual families spend. Meals planned by dietitians can help reduce childhood obesity and improve overall health. Local dairy farms could supply milk and yogurt, creating steady income for them. Parents could use the time saved from not making lunches to focus on other family or work responsibilities. Fresh vegetables from nearby farms could be served in schools, supporting both student health and local businesses. All right, there are three different ideas being developed in these sentences. Three different reasons for why schools should provide lunches to all students, right? Not just like a group, but to all. Can you tell me what the three ideas are? None of these sentences are necessarily topic sentences. They are details to support main ideas, main reasons. What do you think are the main reasons that these points are getting at? Think about it. What are the main reasons? All right, now you can tell me in the chat. What are the three main reasons you think these points are getting at? Parents would save money. That's piece of the point. There's one other piece of that point. And some other thing, right? What's the next point? Good. All right, so Ariana, good. Before you group, what is the main idea? What are the thing is getting at? Yes, it's better to have school lunch, but why? How students should be fed? How should they be fed? Parents would have to wake up early to, yeah, but why? Okay, students can get balanced meals. This is Ronaldo's point. Yes, good. So second main point, second main reason. I feel I should put this over here. Students would get balanced meals. Right, I'll reiterate again. I'm not asking you to write down all these sentences on the screen. So don't just jump straight into that. That's not where we're going, right? We're planning, we're making a plan. Right, so Sonia, it saves time. That is what we're missing from the first one. It saves money and time for parents. One more point. Maybe somebody has put it in the chat and I just have to sort through the messages. Right, balanced meals and nutrition. Okay, entrepreneurship, we're getting closer. Farmers in the community, right? So there's a benefit to farms in the community. Right? These are the three reasons that this list could be sorted. These three categories that the details could be sorted into. Right? So now what you're doing is you're looking through these sentences and you're telling me what goes into group 1, what goes into group 2, and what goes into group 3. right? Everybody understands that? Anybody confused about that? So I'm closing the chat to give everybody a chance to process. Support local farmers. Yes, that is the third reason, right? All right. Right, so group, tell me the numbers that go into group one, which sentences go into group one, which sentences go into group two, which ones go into group three. Yes, we have our last English class next week, right? Right, now you can send me your answers, right? Try and group it. Right, which sentences go into which group? Yeah, I can scroll down so you can see the rest. Right, okay. And also, if it is easier, that's the link to the document, right? All I'm gonna ask you to write is the main idea and the reasons on it, right? All right, so let's go through it together. Okay, so we're doing the pink one first, right? And I'm gonna highlight as we go. Schools should provide lunches to all. Parents would save time and money. That's the first thing. Families would spend less money on groceries each week if lunch. So that's one, right? This is one. Right? All right. School provided lunches could follow balanced nutrition. Now, that's for the blue ones. This is a blue point. Parents would need to wake up early to prepare, so they would save time. So this is a pink point. That's the first reason. Farmers in the community could sell fresh produce directly to the school lunch program, so that is point 3, right? Benefits to local farms. Buying food in bulk for schools often costs less per meal than what individual families spend. So I guess that is point 1. A little off topic, but all right, we'll take it. Meals planned by dietitians can help reduce childhood obesity and improve overall health. That is point 2, right? Local dairy farms could supply milk and yogurt, creating steady income for them. So that is point 3. Parents could use the time saved for not making lunches. That is point 1. Right? All right, so let's write out these points in point form underneath the headings. And I know we still have some below, but if I shift that, I will shift my highlights. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now, right? Okay, so underneath the paying, parents would save time and money. They would spend less money on groceries. Right? Second point for pink, they don't need to wake up early to pack lunches, so they would get more sleep. Who packs your lunch for you? You pack it or your parents pack it? Buying food in bulk for schools often costs less per meal than what individual families spend. All right, so schools buy in bulk, right? Parents could use the time saved from not making lunches to focus on other family or work responsibilities. Right? So more time for other jobs. I'm going to put jobs because I can't fit responsibilities in this tiny space. Okay? All right, now this is what you could note. You could note the topic, the main reason, and the supporting points. Okay, let me scroll on a little bit quick and see what we have. We did up to 8, right? Fresh vegetables as a farming point. Students would be more likely to try healthy foods. Nope. Partnership with local farmers, farming point. Fewer packed lunches to make less time on, spend less on lunch containers, snacks, and single-use packaging. They don't have to worry about if their child's lunch meets healthy standards, right? All right, so let's say less money on containers, right? And less time worrying. Okay? So I'm going to pause and give you all a chance to write down, you please write down the topic and the reason, main reason, and then the details, right? I'm going to write that on top so it's clear. So please note topic, that's this thing here. Main reason, main reasons, but we're doing it one at a time. And supporting details. Right? So everybody understands what they're doing. They're taking down the topic. Topic 1, schools should provide lunches to all students. The main reasons, but we're doing it one at a time. So right now you're just working on the one in pink. All right, so I'm pausing the recording to give you a chance to do that. All right, the chat is off for a little while. Let's talk about what goes into the blue portion. Okay. We highlighted some already. So students would get balanced meals is the main reason we think that schools should provide lunches to everyone, right? So balanced meals, 1 point. Balanced nutrition. Vitamins and minerals, right? Okay, what's the next thing? Meals planned by dietitians can help reduce childhood obesity and improve health. So improve health, reduce obesity, right? Okay, so now we have to go down for the other blue point. So that's from number 9. That's 9 is a farming point. They're more likely to try a variety of healthy foods, right? That's a balanced meal point. All right. Partnerships with that's a green point. 12 is a parent point. Improved energy levels. I'm not sure this is really, you know what? I'm gonna leave this one out. This one I don't think it's clear that there's students would get balanced meals from this point. Okay, right? So we have some good points here to develop students would get balanced meals if the schools are providing them. Have you all ever watched a video about or have you ever come across an article about school lunches in Japan? So lunches in Japan are lunches for everybody, right? And it's also community based, like they source the stuff locally, and there's a nutritionist on staff, right, who plans the meals. And the kids take turns presenting about what is in the meal. It's a sit down meal. So people have time to sit and eat and process and socialize. It's very interesting. And Japan has like one of the lowest rates, if not the lowest rate of obesity among developed countries worldwide. All right, so we're going to the point in blue and the sub points. So some people might be thinking to themselves, why is this benefits to local farmers even on the screen if it's about schools should provide lunches to all students? But it's still a benefit to a country if we consume more locally produced and sourced foods, right? For lots of practical reasons. We save on foreign currency bills. We don't import as much. Local businesses do better. Right? So it is a benefit and it is a thing to consider. All right. So anyway, what do we have as for points for to support benefits for local farms? Farmers in the community could sell fresh produce directly to school programs, right? So I'm gonna put the points up here because that's where I have the space, right? So fresh produce. Sold directly, right? All right. Local dairy farms could supply milk and yogurt, and that would be steady income for them. Now, to me, this could be, I mean, the example is dairy, but it could be any type of farm, right? Any type of farm made. So, steady income for farms who grow root crops, steady income for farms who grow corn, who grow, or who provide eggs, or who provide meat, right? Poultry farms, whatever, right? So dairy, so this is just dairy, but you don't have to use dairy. As the example, right? Okay, what else we had down here? Time to get rid of these. Okay, we had gotten up to 9, that was on the above screen. Fresh vegetables from nearby farms can be served in school meals, supporting both student health and local businesses. Okay, so fresh vegetables, is that different from fresh produce? Could it be? Let's make it different. Fresh vegetables mean better quality. So you might get fresh lettuce, which you have to get fresh every day or two because it will go bad once you cut it up. You can't really store it. But you might also get fresh pak choy, which could last a little longer. Fresh seasoning, fresh vegetables, right? Okay, what else? Seasonal ingredients. You could form partnerships with local farmers markets to source seasonal ingredients. So more in season things. Right? What are some things you'll look out for every year for this season? Might be a fruit. I'll open the chat just now, you'll tell me. A consistent market for crops grown by local farmers, right? So, well, we kind of have steady income up here. Consistent market, right? All right. So these are points to support benefits to local farms, right? And y'all are gonna tell me in the chat what are some seasonal things you look forward to every year. Some things we get year round, some fruits and vegetables we get year round. For instance, mangoes might be a thing. Pomerac, really? Okay. What about chennets? Pomerac, yeah. Plum and chenet, okay. Cherries, okay. Oranges, yeah. Mango. Plum, okay. I don't like plum. The only thing I really look forward to other than mango is chenet. And then, like, I get it once for the year. Avocado, yeah. Well, in some places now, I feel like we get avocado year round. Soursop, okay. My kids really love rambutan. You all know that fruit? I never ate that growing up, but for some reason they raw like it. I don't know. My stepmom used to like piwa. She always used to like when piwa was in season. That was a big thing. Pawpaw. Okay. Pineapple. It used to have seasons for pineapple, but now I feel like I see pineapple around all the time. And it's just sometimes the price is high and sometimes it's real cheap. Dragon fruit. Yeah, no, we're just talking about what we look forward to when it's in season. We're not, you're right, we're not sending China to school. Besides being a choking hazard, I feel like in some schools, kids would use those chestnut seeds for troublemaking. All right, so this next one has two main points. School curricula need to involve more practical learning experiences. And I'm just because of the time, I'm going to tell you what the main points are. And also, just as before, I'm asking you to know the topic, the main reasons or the main points, and then the supporting details, right? So one main point is once they leave school, immediately after they leave school, they have to apply everything in a practical sense, right? So it's not like there's some kind of transition where for a little while you're learning about practical things. No, once you leave school, everything is practical. In real life settings, right? That's one reason. And the next reason is, maybe some of you have spotted it. Let me change the color. Some people didn't like the pink. Oh, excuse me. Some people learn better. Well, let me change this to most people. Students learn better. From hands-on experiences, right? Okay. So on the one side, it will be points for the orange, and on the next side, it will be points for blue. So look through and see if you could sort out which points, which numbers belong where, right? Okay, I'm opening the chat again. You could send your answers, right? And this is the last thing we're doing today. This is the last activity we're doing today. Oh, I forgot to go back and see who got plantified. Okay, that will be the last activity we do today. No, I didn't spell curricula wrong. I was making it plural. Curriculum is one, I think, right? And curricula with the A at the end is plural. I'm gonna look it up to double check. Yeah, curricula is the plural form of curriculum. Right, so tell me which numbers go into which group. As soon as you're ready. 1, 3, 5, and 8, okay. For group 1, All right, I think I agree with that. That makes sense. Oh, that means everything else is for the next side. All right, let me see. In real life, people have to use what they know to solve problems, not just remember facts. True. Building a model or running an experiment makes concepts easier to understand. That is for the blue, right? Employers often look for workers who could use knowledge in practical situations. Okay, that could be the orange. When students physically do an activity, they're more likely to remember the steps involved. That's the blue, right? In many jobs, you must take what you learn in school and adapt it to new situations. I think that's the orange. Or the yellow. Hands-on projects can help students connect abstract ideas to real-world examples. A science lab can make topics like chemical reactions clearer than just reading about them. Yeah, okay. Knowing how to apply knowledge makes the transition from school to work smoother. All right. That's like explanation, I guess. Role playing or simulations give students practice before they face real challenges. That's blue, right? Students remember more when they use several senses in the learning process. Okay, that's they learn better. Practical exercises give confidence, let's learn better. Trying things helps students see how ideas work in everyday life. Does learn better, right? All right. So I won't make you put all, I don't think, because I'm looking at the time, but let's see. So underneath the orange, immediately after leaving school, knowledge must be applied in real life settings. So school curricula need to have more practical learning experiences, right? Because um in real life, you have to solve problems, not just remember facts, right? So real life means solving problems. Okay, so y'all have taken on the topic already, and you've taken on the reason and the supporting details, right? Not just facts. All right. Employers often look for workers who could use knowledge in practical situations. So employers want workers who can use knowledge. I read an article once about an interview question. I don't remember if the person was interviewing for, it was one of those high profile companies. It could have been Google, it could have been Facebook, it could have been Amazon, but like a not an entry level position, like an assistant to somebody important position. So the question that they get in the interview is for them to estimate how much glass is used in the windows in the buildings of a particular area that they live in. I don't remember if it's like a city or something. Does that seem like a strange question to ask someone who's coming in for a job as an assistant, an administrative job? How much glass is used in the buildings in a particular area? If you had to answer that question for your street that you live on, how would you approach that? So that's number 5 accounted for. No, that's number 3 accounted for. So 5, you have to, so things in school, you have to adapt to new situations rather. And number 8 is like a smoother transition. So if you know, if you have more real life experience in school, smoother transition into work. So, you know, you learn how to write letters in English, right? But then you start working and you're asked to write a letter, but you've never actually sent out a professional letter. So the first time you do it, you might be a little anxious. You might need to get some feedback before it goes out. Can 9 fit into both groups? Yeah, probably. I mean, y'all are welcome to fit if you see a point as being better in the other group, you're welcome to put it there, right? English, unlike maths, is flexible. All right, now if we go across the blue side and we put it in the points there. Oops, sorry. Right. We'll put it in the points. Oops, again. Right. Yeah, okay. Too many things open. The wrong thing is scrolling. It makes concepts easier to understand, right? So experiments. I won't be able to fit all the points on this side, and built models. So you can choose different ones if you want. Make concepts easier to understand. All right. When students physically do an activity, they're more likely to remember the steps involved. So if you physically make a cake or make a jug of juice, you'll remember the steps involved, so you could choose the correct sequencing when the test comes, right? All right, hands-on projects can help students connect abstract ideas to real-world examples. Okay, so I'm just gonna put here connect to real world. Science lab can make topics like chemical reactions clearer than just reading about them. So I'm gonna put clearer. Role-playing or simulations give students practice before they practice, right? Students remember more, remember more. And I think I could fit in confidence, and that's all I could fit. 12 is on its own, right? That's a letter example. If in school the assignment was you have to send out the professional letter, or you have to publish a newsletter, that's your project, then when the time comes in real life, you're not as scared. We finish at 1:15, not 1:30. Okay, so the link to this document is already posted on the blog page, right? For you to get to what the homework is going to be. So the homework is one more exercise like this for you to try on your own. Topic 3, and topic 3 is learning a foreign language should be compulsory, right? This is the sorry guys, I know some of you are writing sorry. I always imagine a collective mess. What are you doing every time I change the screen without warning? Right, this is the link to the blog page, right? You'll find the document there. You'll find, well, we didn't use the PowerPoint today, so it's just the document. If you need to double check anything, and to do the exercise, right? So why should a foreign language be compulsory? This one sorts into 3 reasons. When we're done, when you're done with this note, I might go and put the 3 reasons in the topic heading, so you don't have to fight up about that too much. But I think the 3 reasons are, it makes you smarter overall, you have more opportunities in the future, and you learn to appreciate other cultures, right? But I'll type that into the document just now. Okay, so just to recap, today we spent our time practicing with organization and grouping related ideas as we would do for a paragraph if we were writing 2 particular topics that we looked at, right? So this brings us more or less to the end of class. You'll have taken down your details here. Once you are done, if you have no questions, you're all free to go. Next week is our last class. We have to talk about conclusions, right? For the essay. The link to the blog page will, when Sir puts up the link to the recording, it will be on the link to the blog page, right? That I just sent in the main chat. Please do not message and tell me bye, but if you have a question, you could ask it. Somebody message and say bye. Oh, plantification. Yes, I forgot about that. All right. Yeah, can I go there? Can I just quickly, we could let me stop the recording.